All right, to watch this video for Thursday, September 8th. The SPY still hanging on tough. It's in an extremely narrow range. IWM, the small cap ETF, is kind of pushing higher. So impressive strength in the market, not a lot of volume. Holiday week, I want to remind you of that. Monday was a holiday, so it's pretty thin out there. All right, CCCR still feels extended, but it pulled in for a couple days after this huge move. And on an intraday basis, look at 15-minute candles. See this big spike? Got a big spike yesterday. Another big spike midday today on volume. So I just kind of want to watch this up over the 280 area. This one might take off. It looks extended when you look at it on the daily. There's the weekly. Those volume spikes have my interest. I'm not in love with it, but let's keep our eyes on it. SKYS, I believe they report before the opening bell tomorrow. So if they are gapping, it's going to be an interesting gap play because it's a super low float. Looked like we had some fear of missing out buyers this afternoon. No, I don't know what spiked it, but with them reporting in the morning, maybe people were scared they're going to have a big report, and it ripped, and then gave most of that back. So the only reason it's on watch is because I saw that intraday pop, and I know it's going to probably gap one way or another tomorrow. I'm 90% certain they report before the open, so I want to watch that one. CDTI had a really nice pop yesterday, and then today kind of a quiet inside day. It's almost round trip, but it's also got nice support here, in the 340, 350 area, and the 200-day is there as well. Much lower volume on the pullback, so this one might get some buying interest tomorrow. I don't love it because it almost round trip, but I still want to watch it. HPJ, after this big spike, has really kind of gotten tight. You have a high, you have a lower high, a lower high. You have a higher low, and then a nice narrow range today. So when you switch to 15s, just super coiled. This can push back up through 3. It might take off. It also might go the other way. So I don't take a trade unless and until I get a proper intraday setup and things are in my favor. So we may or may not trade any of these, including this one, but it goes on watch. KTOV, relatively new issue, and a nice spike today, nice volume pop. This one, I'll be looking for a possible red to green, something like that, continuation day tomorrow. SORL was on watch today. No trades, but it sold off early and kind of held up. So want to watch that one for a potential third-day move. SEED, I have an old trend line there. It's a pretty handsome chart, to be honest with you. I was trying to maneuver that around. That's not really working very well. Let's just throw that over here and get rid of it. So you've got a high, a couple equal tops really here, and it's kind of building and building. So over 240, it's certainly interesting on an intraday basis. It did get a big volume spike today, which would put it on my radar. There it is on 60s. It's certainly interesting over 240. It's one of those that almost looks too obvious, but we'll keep it on watch tomorrow. MGT, really strong close today. I saw some people in the chat room this afternoon. I rarely trade afternoons. I saw some people in the chat room getting long this thing, and they had a pretty nice afternoon with it. I didn't do anything with it, but you know what? It's been consolidating in a very tight range, and now it's breaking to the upside. So this one could have a follow-through day tomorrow. VBLT, this one doesn't really have the volume I look for. I try to focus on stuff that's had recent high relative volume, and when I say recent, I don't mean early June, right? But after this pop, it's just been in a tight range from basically 4 to 450-ish, right? Maybe you could say 350 to 450. A nice little push up today. So if it breaks today's high over 437, maybe it gets through this 450 resistance. It being a low float stock, it might get a nice move. But I don't really like playing stuff that hasn't had really high relative volume the last 5 days, something like that. So even if I see a chart that looks like it could break out, I'm hesitant if I don't have that volume that I'm talking about recently. And then lastly, I've got CLCD, which had this huge breakout yesterday, then today started to run and then gave some of that back. I don't view this as an almost round trip because it started, back here around 11 bucks. So went all the way to almost 26. Much lower volume on today's sell-off or pullback, whatever you want to call it. This one might just turn right back up again tomorrow. So that one goes on watch. Also, we will build a watch list in the morning of potential gap plays as well. And as always, Oki should be in the room making some amazing oil play calls. He's kind of our room oil play specialist, and I'm going to start maybe watching his stuff a little more closely myself. he's just been on fire. So anyway, there's always somebody in that room that's got something going, that's got the hot hand. So anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.